Friends, today I am going to discuss the calculation of attainment of course outcomes, COs, and program outcomes, POs and PSOs. Outcome-based education must be implemented in all the colleges and universities. In outcome-based education, calculation of attainment of course outcomes, COs, and program outcomes, POs and PSOs is very important. In this video, I am discussing the procedure for the calculation of attainment of COs, POs and PSOs. Calculation of attainment of course outcomes, COs, direct attainment. Questions or other assessment mode in the continuous assessment and comprehensive assessment, for example, end semester exam, must be mapped with the course outcomes. This is the most important prerequisite for calculation of attainment of COs. It may be noted that even in midterm exams or teachers' assessment like quizzes, assignments, tutorials, home assignments, etc., each question must be mapped with one of the COs. In case of mini projects, term paper, lab component of the course, each of the criteria in the rubrics must be mapped with one of the COs. Mapping of assessment questions at the course level. For example, let us consider 6 LOs at course level. Assessment question. Question 1 mapped with CO1. Question 2 mapped with CO2. Question 3 mapped with CO3. Question 4 mapped with CO4. Question 5 mapped with CO5 and question 6 mapped with CO6. Note, teacher may include subparts of each question as he or she thinks appropriate, but all the parts of the question must be mapped with the same learning outcome. If he or she wants to give choice, it may be given under each learning outcome in such a way that the learning outcome is achieved even if the student answers either of the questions in the choice. The best practice is to give 3 parts under each question, A, B, C, in the end semester examination. For example, question 1, part A, no choice. It is reasoning based, conceptual and very short answer question and mapped with CO1. Question 1B, there is an internal choice, either or, but both the questions are mapped with CO1. Question 1C, again there may be internal choice, but both the questions are mapped with CO1 only. Similarly, other questions with parts in each must be mapped against each of the COs. However, in case of continuous assessment, each question may have 1 or 2 subparts only, and each part of the question is mapped with one of the course outcomes. It may be noted that unit level learning outcome is a sub-outcome of a course outcome. Thus, even in the case of unit tests or quizzes or midterm examinations, each question may be mapped with one of the course outcomes. Now let us see the calculation of attainment of COs step by step. Step 1. Marks against each CO in continuous assessment, that is midterms exams, teachers assessment, and also comprehensive assessment, end semester examination or any other mode, put together must be calculated for every student. It's like this, table 1, marks of every student in each CO. CO1, student roll number and marks out of 100. CO1, for example. So for each student, you record marks out of 100. Step 2, attainment. How do you calculate now attainment from the marks given in table 1? If 50% of the students have greater than 40% marks, the value is 1. If 60% of students have greater than 40% marks, the value is equal to 2. If 80% of the students have greater than 40% marks, the value is equal to 3. The attainment values in between the set percentages are calculated proportionately. Here, in this case, threshold minimum for attainment of CO is taken as 40%. Step 3. In a similar manner, the attainment values of all other COs can be calculated by keeping threshold minimum as 40% for the attainment of the CO. The CO attainment values may be in the range of 1 to 3, including fractions like 2.4, 2.7, 2.25, etc. The average of the attainment values of all the COs may also be calculated. Note, it is desirable that the CO attainment value may range between 2.4 and 3 for any given course. In all other cases, steps must be taken for improvement in the next semester when that course is offered. That is called continuous improvement. Now, let us discuss calculation of attainment of program outcomes, POs, and program specific outcomes, PSOs. We are going to discuss only the direct attainment. Step 1. Course articulation matrix. That means mapping between the course outcomes and program specific outcomes for each of the courses must be ready. For example, in a typical BTech program, if there are 55 courses, including lab courses and project work, 55 course articulation matrices must be very carefully and accurately prepared. Please watch my video on mapping of course outcomes with program outcomes, for which the link is given below. Then you will have greater clarity how to map the course outcomes with program outcomes and program specific outcomes. That clarity is very much essential. So this is the course articulation matrix, mapping of course outcomes, COs, with program outcomes, POs, and program specific outcomes, PSOs. You can write 3 in the box for high mapping, 2 for medium mapping, and 1 for low mapping, and dash for no mapping. Please remember that when there is no mapping, you have to put dash. Don't leave the box empty. You have to put dash when there is no mapping. Step 2. CO attainment values for all the course outcomes of all the courses offered in a particular academic program, including elective courses, must be kept ready for calculating the attainment of program outcomes and program specific outcomes. Let us designate the course attainment value as a COA. Weightage for any given CO in the mapping table is WI. It may be 1 or 2 or 3. Of course, when there is no mapping, it is dash. For every course outcome, multiply COA, course attainment value, by WI, that weightage. Let the product be XI. Please do not consider the no mapping boxes. Calculate XI values for all the course outcomes of the courses like X1, X2, X3, X4, etc. up to Xn. N may be about 300, for example, if there are 55 courses for a 4-year degree program. Step 3. Now calculate the weighted average of the COA of all the course outcomes of all the courses for a given PO or PSO using the course articulation matrices of all the courses. Now, what is the formula? Capital W is equal to sum of the XI values upon sum of the WI values. Capital W is called weighted average. Capital W is the attainment value of any given PO or PSO. It is better if the PO or PSO attainment value is between 2.4 and 3. Let us consider a small sample of the data for the calculation of the attainment value of a given PO. Here CO, then COA, WI and XI. CO1, COA 2.6, WI is equal to 3, then XI is calculated to be 7.8. Here in CO3, there is no mapping, therefore WI you have put dash. Then you will not be calculating XI. For all such boxes where there is no mapping, you will not be calculating XI. But for all other COs, where there is mapping with either 3 or 2 or 1, you will be calculating the XI values as shown here. Now, you add all the WI values, that is sigma WI is equal to 19. You add all XI values, that is sigma XI is equal to 46.8. Now capital W, that is weighted average, is equal to sigma Xi upon sigma Wi. In this particular case, capital W is equal to 46.8 upon 19, that is equal to 2.46. Therefore, PO attainment value is equal to 2.46. In real cases, you can tabulate the COA values and the corresponding WI values of all the course outcomes of all the courses mapped with 1 or 2 or 3 with a given PO or PSO. Then calculate the weighted average value W explained for a small sample in the previous slide. That gives PO attainment value for one PO. Repeat the process for calculation of attainment values of all the POs, that we call them POA, and PSOs, and record those in the form of a table as shown below. For all the POs and PSOs, so you calculate the PO attainment value as shown here. Conclusion: course outcomes based assessment is prerequisite for calculation of attainment of course outcomes. Therefore, the question paper format and the rubrics wherever applicable must be in the learning outcomes based approach. Mapping of course outcomes with program outcomes and program specific outcomes must be done very carefully, as discussed in my video on mapping of course outcomes with program outcomes. Then calculation of attainment of COs and POs can be done very easily and accurately by following the procedure discussed in this video. Thank you very much.